Welcome, 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 welcome. Today is another important day, and we're also going to also talk about the most important topic that most people confuse and fail to get to it, to understand it, and be it, and part and parcel of what be part and parcel of what it is. That is it, gender, and we are going to talk about sexuality. So once we speak of sexuality, just to know there are a lot of things that are incorporated in the sexuality. One aspect of it is gender itself. It's inside the sexuality, and inside the gender there is also a lot of things that are incorporated inside. There is gender roles. Most important thing I'm going to talk about is gender roles. And gender roles are what now attribute to what society expect of you as a human being. They are attributed to the society. And our goal, remember, is to create a divine society where it accommodates everyone according to his and her own true self, to his or her true self. That is it, the type of gender we want. And that is the type of the society we want to incorporate. That is the divine society we always talk about. So you can see inside the gender roles is where now gender equality, equity plays in on how we should treat each other in the society we live in right now. But the society we live in, remember, build on conditioning and the operation and the not guiding someone to be the best version of him or herself. That's the society we are living in right now. And we want to transform that to a society where everyone is able to live to the fullest. Everyone is able to express his feelings and his emotion to the fullest and be able to get the basic needs he or she needs, she deserves to have for maximizing his abilities, his creativity, his way of exploring and learning life right here on the planet. That is the divine society, and that is how we give this information to transform society itself. That's why we are talking about gender. So on that is just about the gender role, and on the same thing there is now uh, uh, gender oriented sexual orientation. Now on that now where now LGBT comes in on how we should also live life after knowing which are you lesbian, are you gay, are you transgender or heterogender, transgender, are you hetero or just straight, or you don't belong to any of that group. So which type of person, if you don't belong to any of these groups, comes in, which is logically impossible because LGBT plus it encompasses every gender it have. It's now up to you to discover your true sexual orientation, where you get attracted to. And the only way you can get attracted to is by coming here. We give you information that will make you to best know yourself, to know thyself, become the one who you were with. Once you become the one you were with, then these aspects are going to be easier for you to identify. Thing that brings happiness inside you. Because there are some people, they might be identifying with another, and they might be attracted as a gay, not just because they are gays, but because once they are close to a girl who also doesn't know his or herself, they don't get the certification they were supposed to get. Why? It's because of now how we treat each other and how the the cooperation itself are supposed to happen. So some they feel it boring. That's why you might find someone be part of certain group while he's not in his true sense. He just want where he can have true happiness, not satisfying sexual needs. That's why we come in the bisexual, some who get attracted to both male and female. All these confusions comes in because people they don't first choose to know thyself. They choose what the world said, what the world is going to bring to them. So today is a little large, and I have taken a lot of, it's a large article we are going to read together. So stay with me and hear what the author on the article said. It's an important article. Once we finish, you should also just go on Google, search. I will give you the title and the link. Then you should also review the article for yourself. In so doing is when you learn how to apply reason and learn from other people's perspective on how they view these topics, like the topic I have said about the sexuality, how others view other people's view about sexuality. So this is from treatmyocd.com. Treatmyocd.com, and the title is "What is my sexuality? A therapist advice on trying to figure it out." What is my sexuality? A therapist advice to in trying to figure it out. So it says, if you want to read on your own, just type treat my no, don't leave a space, treat myocd.com, and type the title should be "What is my sexuality?" Once you do that, then the whole article is going to come and you're going to read it for yourself. A therapist advice on trying to figure it out. So it says, if you found yourself experiencing doubt or uncertainty about your sexuality, you might feel very alone. You might feel very alone if you find yourself doubting about your sexuality. What sexuality, which gender do you have? You might feel lonely. That's what the article is saying. So in this matter, you may want to be sure about your sexuality, and you might want to be sure about your sexuality and sexual identity. You see? So the sexuality and your sexual identity. This might happen, they happen a lot in the individual who have reached puberty. This when this now comes into counter into plays a big role in your identification of who you should be. It's quite normal to be unsure and go through changes with your sexuality over time, and to question you also believe it was true about yourself. And in this teenager, once you are a teenager, it's when almost this happen. Because first, remember, we have to learn. You have to also know Kayama's development theory. This plays a huge role. That Kayama's development theory said about the ego and the superego. And there is now stages, there's other stages now about the development theory, where it talks about stage one. Once the baby is born, the sexual desires are attributed at the mouth, and they are there for the baby for suckling. That's why the baby is mostly in love with the breast milk of the mother. The suckling itself is like the baby doesn't just breastfeed only to satisfy his stomach. No, he also satisfies emotions, feeling. That's why we say, well, mother and baby, a mother and baby when breastfeeding, they need to keep eye contact to promote relation mother to baby relationship. In this process, the sexual desire that are inside the mouth of the baby, and it also say once the baby gets to two reach 2 to 3 years, the sexual desires are at the anus. They left the mouth and they go to anus. And the baby is mostly interested in touching his own area. He might be playing with the stools he have defecated. If you don't go and check on where he have defecated on, it's because it's the natural process of grow and survive and learning of that child, discover who he truly is and how truly he feel about him or herself, about the object itself. And it says once the baby reached to 8 to 9 years, then the sexual desires are dormant. You see, like they no longer exist. He doesn't. He might be for if he is a girl, he might have a priest, but the way he behave, like he might be behaving like a kid who doesn't even have any sexual desires. He might be playing with boys like while others might be in a society might be saying, no, you are not supposed to be to play with those people. You are an adult whatsoever, because the sexual desire inside that child are dormant. They no longer exist. The child just look everything as ego, as the way he is. So you can see in that process the child is at 9, he's going now, you want to reach to puberty. Remember, once the child in this stage, the society also have already, in the process of growing, the society were also telling the child who or he is or supposed to be. If there is a boy at the age of 8, 9, it's the same things. He might be playing with girls, but the society say, no, you are not supposed to act in that matter. You are supposed to be maybe a father whatsoever. But inside that child, the sexual desires are dominant. If you just go and search developmental theory about the Carayom put it out. So once they are dominant, once the child now reach 11 to 12, now the sexual desires gets now to the genitals. It's also the time the child reached puberty. So once the child have reached puberty, now sexual orientation now comes in. You see, the sexual identity, who the child is supposed to uh, identify with. So if he doesn't have correct advisors who he truly is, then the child might miss the big picture and the most important thing about his or herself, about the truth to his or herself. In the end, the child might experience some mental health problem because he doesn't know his or herself, or being uncertain, as the article is saying. So I have stated on what the development theory says. Now here is at puberty that when this plays a huge role. Uh, So over time to question once you believed were true about yourself. So in this time you question everything that you were believing that was true about yourself, only how your parents were raising you. You might be were believing something that your parents were telling you, but once you question, you realize it's no longer it is no longer the way you were looking at it. It's no longer the truth. In the end, you now look for truth. You look for your true self. if some peers might influence, your peers might take now a huge part. That's why maybe peer pressure also comes in. If you didn't build a strong and trustworthy relationship with your relatives and parents. So some of the questions and dilemmas that comes in for a child to be in such a mother is, what is uh, what if I am a gay and I don't know? You see, right now all these LGBT groups are out and inside everyone, and the child have just reached at this age. Then the question that comes in some like this: What is what if I'm a gay and I don't know? The child wonder, and it brings a lot of confusion and stress. Another might be, what am I actually? What if I am actually straight and I don't actually love my partner? What if I'm bisexual and I don't know? Would I be able to show myself in my religion, in my religious community, if I am actually gay? You see, all those are the question that comes in inside a child. So this now relates to what the society were conditioning that the child, as he was growing up, once he's at the age of 12. So the condition that they maybe they were the parents were letting him to play with fellow males so that his sexual orientation should be of or gay, or he was playing with fellow females as a society. Maybe it's how the upbringing is, but in the end, the society now, if they were living, they might just choose to identify him as a lesbian. He might be was with a fellow male, they might be accepting it as his heterosexual, or it might be all he was doing all that unconsciously, but it was part of play and grow. But in this time, it plays a huge role. Now the child might just choose to be just playing about boxers only to know, to have that peace of mind. But the truth is, to get rid of all of this is you have to know that you are internal being, your mathematical information. All this plays a part once you know your avatar. First, you have to know your avatar. What are your avatar have? So once the first thing is first, for you to identify your sexual identity, the avatar might have a penis. Once it has a penis, you know you are a male. Once it has the vagina, you know you're a female. You can be able to give birth, and once you know you are have a penis, you know that you can be able to impregnate. In so doing, then you have to know the chemistry that goes inside these avatars, because there's chemical processes that make up the body, that make up the avatar itself. Then you have to learn biology. You have to know how many chromosomes, because all that is what contribute to you to produce or not to produce. Is what contribute for you to give birth or not to give birth. Is now the biology makeup of your avatar now. So the first thing is in identification of Y and X chromosomes. Once you have a Y chromosome, you know you are a male. And once you have a normal Y chromosome, Y X combination of Y and X, it's a normal male being, and the combination of XX is uh, normal female being. But it might happen is that you have two X and Y. Then in so doing, it means you will have the avatar will have identification of a, a male, that is, you have a penis. But in terms of the hormones that are inside you, what are going to dominate are female hormones, estrogen and progesterone. The testosterone is going to be low. In the end, you are going your sexual orientation, or even whether your sexual orientation took plays a part or it didn't play a part, but because of large number of estrogen and progesterone, what you are going to be attracted to most are going to be your fellow males because of the genetic makeup of your avatar itself. But if it's a norm, then you know, so it's a straight that you are going to be attracted to females, though your sexual orientation might be of you being a gay. Why? It's because of number of now testosterone that are inside you. Are the ones that are going to define your sexual attraction. If it's the XX, the same things happens. You are going to be in a normal case that you are female, you will be able to be. If there are a lot of, you have three X's, then it means your desire now to have sex because of the number is going to also to be high. See? That is what happened in identification, whether first identifying who you truly are. First, know your avatar itself. Once you know your avatar, then you are going to be able to decide to know who you truly is. So, as I have explained all this, you can know that all that exists is the mind. For you to be transgender, for you to be heterosexual, is because of now the society and lack of knowing who you truly are. So first, know thyself, then you are going to get rid of what the society say, and you are going to discover your true self about it, sexuality. And after having this knowledge is the only way you are going to know your true sexuality, your true sexual identity. So we are going to continue. So how sexuality is now, the article talk about how sexuality is defined. So it says, it can refer to what is ability to feel and experience sexual feelings, or or one is identity in relationship to gender or genders. So that's the definition of sexuality, how you feel, and you identify yourself in relation to gender and gender. That there are a lot of genders. There are some, even if some people they born having both penis and the vagina. But as they grow up, the society dictates what you have to identify. You can't grow up with both of them. They choose to take one part away. The part that is maybe dominant is that they think is not working the most, disregarding the hormonal makeup of your avatar. They choose a certain part to be taken away so that you should have one gender. But surprisingly, once the child grow up, they end up noticing that what they decided for the child is good because of the conditioning, or they might end up surprised that the child is no longer interested in the gender they choose for the child. It's now because of the genetic makeup, the hormonal balancing of the hormones inside the child's avatar. So sexual orientation can include heterosexual or straight, lesbian, gay, bisexual, asexual, and many others. Since sexuality is made up of so many different components, our understanding of our own sexuality is overchanging, and it's normal to question your sexual well into adulthood. So it's normal to question your sexuality as you are learning. In so doing, you look, because once you are questioning, it means you are looking within, you are tapping into your shadow self, so that you no longer have shadow projection. Once you are no longer having shadow projection, then you're going to uh, attribute and portray, I mean, display your true gender to the society, because it will not belong, it will not be based on sexual, it will not be based on uh, it will not be based on the sex, it will not be based on the shadow projection, because you are questioning, you are integrating your shadow and making the unconscious conscious, and realize your true divinity. And once you realize it, then you no longer have going to have a projection, shadow projection. You will show the world your true self. So when should you another question that the topic said was, when should you know your sexuality, and when you should know your sexuality. So it says there is a lot of conflicting information about when someone typically feels that they know their sexuality, because there are no set rules on when you should know, because there are no set rules of when you should know your sexuality. But the because of with this knowledge, then you know when you should know your sexuality. It's about you attaining knowledge of the truth to who you truly is. Once you get this information, you can't miss your sexuality. You can't miss your sexual identity, because you have the information. Then you look within. Then your identity is going to be based from your true self. You're not going to be a slave to what some want you to be, or other people want you to be. You are going to display and show your true self. What brings you true happiness is what you are going to identify with to the society. So it continues. 1% of your own identity as 1% of 9-year-old identify as LGBT plus, and that 48% of college students, they know their sexual orientation by the time they were in high school. So in high school, remember, once someone have gone to high school, it's also the time most of people also reach puberty, or the time they have reached puberty, but they were in this dilemma and uncertainty of who they should identify with. Now, peers are now the one that plays a huge role on it, helping you identify your true self in high school. This happens a lot. In in so doing is in so doing, it means your sexual orientation, if it was just based on peers, without you looking within and discover your true self, then it might not be attributed from your true self. It's not your true sexuality, because it is based on what you get attracted to your peers. However, there is no definite time by which people know when struggling to figure out your sexuality. Yeah, there is no definite law on when people should know their sexuality. So, but the time for biggest time for you to know your sexuality is once you have sensation that you are inhabitable, then go look for knowledge. No time limit that it should happen at you when you are a teenage, or when you are young, or when you have grown up. No, there's no that limit. You can just look for this knowledge anytime you want to know, you want to discover your true self, your true sexuality. Anytime you want to discover that, you can come to the channel and learn also other uh, articles that provide this knowledge and apply reason and logic. When struggling to figure out your sexuality affect your mental health, now in choosing to identify your sexuality, does it affect your mental health? This is what we are going to now to look into. So the article said, there is no denying that we live in a society where you can still encounter expectation of what is normal or acceptable in terms of sexuality. I have explained much of this uh, about what society say about, in society there are religions, there are no other society, in every society there are different religions. All the religions they have rules on the member they accept and not accept. So if you haven't realized that you are everything that you don't look within, that you can also become God, then the society is going to limit of who you are supposed to identify identify with. It's because of the God of religion is what is going to drain you, is what is going to take you out of your true essence. So it said, there is no denying that we live, okay, I have already said, a misunderstood mental health condition that is out there, misunderstood mental health condition, and it's about sexual orientation. If uh, so, it says, if obsessed thoughts about your sexuality are striking you, that one that's one thing. If you have obsessive thought of who you should identify with because of mistaken and no one have told you the truth, then you might be obsessed with your thoughts and it can really cause a mental health condition. It can cause mental pain, a lot of mental pain. So the best thing is come to this, learn this knowledge. Once you learn this knowledge, then the pain can no longer exist. It can be a positive pain because of positive stress that once positive stress comes in because once you think and realize that you know everything, it is the time uh, you start dying because of involution. Because you stop learning, you assume that you know everything while you don't. So the best thing to keep in mind, we are here to learn, grow, and actualize. We are here to learn, grow, and actualize, and learning does not stop. There are a lot of information. There are researches that are being done on discovering your true essence. So you have to apply reason and logic and come to this YouTube because I'll give you information based on a priori reasoning from everything. We know what existence is. Here we have explained all this. Majority of the stream that we had about who God is, what is existence. Once you go into the details, you realize the true essence of who you truly are. But what happens when these doubts consume your life? You see, the doubts of how you should identify yourself, then a condition can come in because they have taken you up. For example, some people avoid the gym where they have cultivated notice attractive people and experienced intrusive thoughts or doubt about their sexual orientation. There might be some intrusive about sexual orientation that there might be. You might have a sexual orientation, you have that projection, you are having that projection, and you see a male You are a male, then you see a male who have accepted that he is a gay. But your upbringing and the society you are coming from says no. In the end, once you see someone who is gay, because of the projection you have inside you, then you might choose to hate that person. See, it might bring in hate, anger towards that person because it haven't yet been integrated inside you. In the end, your mental health can also be affected. Thoughts and doubt about their sexual orientation. Either may compulsively watch porn as a way of confirming or disapproving their doubts about their sexuality. So now these are just examples of what might happen if you don't know your true self. But in Washington, there are a lot of reasons that people choose to watch pornographic film. It's not about identifying their sexual identity. It's maybe sometimes the styles whatsoever. There are a lot of reasons people choose to watch porn. Or compensatory date in order to prove to themselves that their sexual orientation is accurate. So in this doing, the person might be having now might choose to do shadow repression. So the more you repress, the bigger the projection become. Because the more you are repressing it in your shadow, in your unconscious mind, the bigger it is growing inside. And the bigger it is growing, the bigger the outcome, you see, the projection itself. So once it's the projection is bigger, then it means the distraction, the hatred, the anger out towards the society is also going to be bigger. So the biggest thing to do is to look within, know thyself, make an conscious question. Once you do that, then all these negative attributes that we direct towards each other, towards one another, are going to be diminished. We are going to look at the other as part of us and enjoy and focus on creativity and maximizing quality of life for each and everyone and live our life to the fullest. Yeah, that is that about you, how you can identify your true sexuality, your gender identity. If you have any question, you can put in the comment section. Bye for today.